This is an opportunity for me to be real about my analytics on YouTube. So I've been at this since November 1st. I posted my first video on this channel. It looks to be around November 5th or November 6th, somewhere in there. And, it's now February 6th. So every statistic that I tell you today has been in that time frame from November to February. So basically, and I'm going to pull this up on the screen so you can see it too. I have posted 58 videos. I've gotten about 8,461 views, 183.9 watch hours, 105 subscribers. Or actually, it's 104, sorry. But on my feed, it says 105. Average duration, this one's funny. 1 minute and 18 seconds. Impressions, it says 78,636. And then impressions click-through rate, 2.7%. If I'm totally honest with you, these statistics are a little sad because what I'm noticing is that the videos that I put the most time and effort in probably get the least amount of views. I guess you can say that. Well, I know shorts work in a different way. And when I started doing shorts, my shorts were like kind of averaging somewhere around like maybe 300 views or something like that. I have some that are at 500, some that are 400. And the majority of the videos that I've posted have been shorts, but and I don't even know how many shorts I have at this point, probably like 28 or maybe 38 or something like that. I don't know. I can't really see it all right now. But looking at these analytics tells me that I'm putting a crap ton of energy into what I'm doing, but I'm not necessarily seeing like exponential growth. But that's okay, because that's not necessarily that's not my focus right now. However, if I'm being honest with you, looking at these analytics does take an emotional toll on me. I think emotionally I am I'm fully invested in what I do, not just financially, but emotionally. So just like any person who creates something, I would compare YouTube creation or video creation to, art, because I think it definitely is an art. If somebody creates art and they spend time, planning it out and working through drafts and then producing it and then distributing it, however they do, one of the biggest things I think about that is that you're emotionally tied to the results. You're emotionally tied to how people take it, and whether people actually do see it. And that's really how I feel right now. I would be lying if I said that a part of me doesn't want to quit, right? Because I put hours and hours and hours into doing what I do. So if you look at the content that I've created thus far, I started out with podcasts, and that's the plan, to do sort of like podcasts, to do panel discussions, and to create opportunities where people can just learn more about living a regular life, where people can get an understanding of, some of the ways that you can avoid, certain issues that come up in your life. I've had a lot of people on, I've spoken to a lot of people. I spent a lot of time just trying to connect with different folks. I've, created videos, and I have posted most of them, but there are some videos that I create that are just kind of sitting on my drive waiting on me to edit. And, when you're doing content creation, it's not just you and your camera and your ideas. Really, it's you, your camera, your ideas, the people who support you or who you want to support you. It's the people who invest in you, who invest time in you. Like, it's your family, if you have children, if you have a spouse, it's all of that on your back when you're creating. And trying to find the time to create is, it's a headache sometimes. And it's like, is that all really worth making, an hour-long video or 15-minute video or 3-minute or freaking 30-second video when most of the people that you intend to see it don't actually see the video, or when the people who do see it don't really engage with it fully? And I think that's where a lot of people feel the need to quit. They feel the need to kind of just throw in the towel. They feel the need to, just move on to something else and invest that time and energy into something else. And this reminds me of the movie The Passengers. I don't know if you've ever seen it, with Chris Pratt. He's stuck on the ship for like 80 years and there's nothing for him to do. There's this moment where he has this conversation with this android, and he's been kind of complaining about where he is and wishing he was somewhere else. And this android gives him this wisdom, dude, that is amazing. He says, let's say that you got the thing that you're asking for. And he says, let's say that you end up in the place that you want to be at. He said, I bet you still feel the same way that you feel right now, as if you're not where you need to be, as if there's something that you need that you don't have. And he said, how about instead of wasting time feeling sorry and regretting the place that you're in, how about you take time to enjoy where you are and make the most of what you have right now? And, I think that's the most beautiful advice ever. So let's talk about what I have right now. You're going to find that you have everything that you need, but sometimes you just completely disregard those things because you're looking for something else. So stick with me here. I'm going to show you. So these are some of the things that I know that I want. Okay, so number one, new gear. I can always use new gear. There's always something that I feel like I could use. Like, one of the things right now that's on my mind is a slider, because as I'm doing these panel discussions, I think it would be really cool to have a motorized slider that's going to give those smooth, like little looks as I'm transitioning from scene to scene. So, that's something that I could use that could add to it. I want a drone. I don't know why I want a drone. I just want one, especially that new DJI Flip. That thing is cool, and I really want one of those. I have the A7S III, I have a FX30, and I have a A7 III. But, I would like some better lenses. I would like a telephoto lens, a 70 to 200 meter lens, but it's crazy expensive, and, I can't afford it. But I think it would add some really cool shots. Let me see, where I'm at. A bigger studio. As I'm starting to break into doing panel discussions, I want to have more space. My studio that I use right now is not necessarily really comfortable for the amount of people that I want to interview. So, using a bigger studio is something that I want. More support. I don't really even have much to say about that. I just want more support. And that includes views. So that includes views and engagement. More money. I want to get monetized. I love my 9-to-5 right now, but I can't really do what I want to creatively with video because I don't have a lot of time. And I figure if I was getting monetized to do what I do, then I could focus my attention on what I want to do. More time. That kind of ties in with the other one, but another aspect of that is just, it's like whenever I get the time to create, it's either a really small, minuscule amount of time, like an hour or an hour and a half. Any longer than that, then I'm cutting into family time. I'm cutting into personal time that I should be spending with my wife. And that is, supposed to be a huge priority in my life. But, sometimes I'm selfish with that time, so there's that. And then more collabs. I would love to collaborate with more creators, with more people who are, doing something similar to what I'm doing, and these are my wants. The thing about my wants is everybody has it and you're always going to have them. But the more attention you put on your wants, the less attention you can give to the things that you actually have. Now watch how this list changes just a bit. Watch this. Now look at the list. You see, if I focus more of my attention on all of this, I could get a lot more done, right? So some of the things that I put down, like the gear that I have a crap ton of gear already, right? I have all the cameras I need. I have the tripods. I have all the mics that I need for my panelists. I have the computer I need to upload things fast. The list goes on. I might not have a bunch of views. I might not have a ton of support, but I do have some people who encourage me, right? So I put encouragement down there. Some quality collabs. Now, you'll notice that on the list of the things that I said I want more of, I said I want more collabs. But right now, the collabs that I have are pretty high quality because these are collabs that I have with people who are in the community, who are, making real change happen right now. I have a job. I might not need to be monetized right now because I have a full-time job where I get paid good money and I have a ton of flexibility with what I do, and it's a pretty cool job. I have a small studio already. It's just not big enough to fit, 8 people in it, but I could definitely, do interviews where I have a smaller number of people. I have some family support, and I think that's really good to have, even if, somebody in my family doesn't necessarily, give me like this really hands-on support. Just having somebody who kind of knows what I'm going through and understands like how I feel sometimes is that's important, and that's something I need to focus on more. Creative people. I know some creative people, maybe not personally, but there are opportunities for me to talk with those people and get, some of the things that I need, and then also offer help in some of the areas they may need. I do have some time, I put that on here. I do have some time because I can squeeze in a few moments to make content that's valuable and squeeze in some moments where I can plan some content that's valuable. It might not be all the time that I want, I might not have 4 hours, but I have time, some time. I put some views, and that's because, I do have views, over this last, November, December, January, February, over this last 4 months, I've had people who view my stuff, like 8,000 people, and that's good. No matter how long they viewed it, their views. And here's where I think it starts to get a little bit more serious, because these things that I have right now are lucrative, and these are things that I have to pay more attention to for sure. Number one, I might not be, the most viewed YouTuber, but I definitely make quality videos. In my opinion, the sound quality is good, the video quality is good, and I think my creative ideas are having some breathing room. So I love that. Of course, everything that I do can always be, tweaked to be better, but I have that. Money opportunities. Listen, this is one of the things that I think is most important. And I'm going to turn this camera to it because y'all need to hear this. I am not technically monetized on YouTube, and you can see that, right? However, from creating my YouTube videos and from showing people how I develop my content and how I go about like filming my content, people have reached out to me and have offered to pay me to use my services to help them create things. For me, that's monetization. because I'm gonna have to get like 1 million views or a couple 100,000 views and a few thousand subscribers just to get monetized on YouTube, just to really not make that much money to begin with. But I've had opportunities where people have offered to pay me a lot more than what I would get from YouTube monetization. So that's always there, and that's something that I really don't pay attention to, but man, that's monetization in itself. So if you're getting opportunities to help people make content, or to use the creative tools that you have and that you're using on YouTube or on whatever social media site that you're using, you're monetized. And then these are my core things down here. I know you can't see them on the camera, but I put direction, I put faith, purpose, health, and a job that knows what I do. So first of all, these are a no-brainer. If you don't have direction for where you want to go, none of this stuff matters, because you'll always find a way to screw it up because you won't prioritize those things. I know where I want to go with this. So right now, like I said, I'm making videos that are geared toward podcasts and geared toward talking to people and hearing stories. But eventually, I want to make this span out a little bit more, where I can team up with different organizations and create these conversation opportunities where real people get to tell real stories about real things that can help regular folks like you and me, right? That's my idea. And then, of course, faith. You got to have faith that everything is going to continue to grow. You got to have purpose, because if you don't have a purpose for what you do, stop doing it. You're probably gonna quit anyway. Health, of course. If I'm sick, I can't do what I need to do. And then lastly, a job that knows what I do. My job knows that I create podcasts. They know that I work with video. Yeah, we have a media team where I work at, but on my team specifically, they've given me opportunities, and people here have reached out to me for opportunities to help them create podcasts, to help them do video content. And that's important. Look, I know I just went through this whole list, but you should be doing this yourself. Find out what you have and use it to your advantage. If you're doing all of these things without direction, if you're doing all of these things without, a real purpose, then it really doesn't matter what you get. You're going to eventually say you don't have enough, you're going to get burnt out and you're going to quit. But if what you're doing right now is not working with the gear that you have and with the support that you have and with the opportunities that you have right now, then you might need to reestablish what your goals are, and then plan moving forward with what you have currently. And I think that you will, number one, see growth. If not from the amount of views or engagement that you get from your posts, you'll see growth internally, because hey, this is really just a part of life. And like I said from that quote from Passengers, it really doesn't matter if you get what you want right now and get to that place, because once you get there, chances are you'll probably still feel like you don't have what you need. So that's an element within inside all of us that we have to continue to develop and grow and learn how to be content with what we have. And once we can do that, hey, you won't need views to be happy. Peace.